What made me pull my daughter aside when I heard the tour guide's explanation of the dorm rules? My daughter Sophie had been accepted to Riverside University, and we were doing the official campus tour in March. She was so excited, taking pictures of everything, asking questions about the meal plans and study abroad programs. I was just trying to keep up. Our tour guide was this cheerful sophomore named Madison, who kept talking about how amazing dorm life was. Great community, lifelong friendships, all that typical college stuff. We walked into one of the freshman dorms, and Madison started going through the rules. Standard things at first: no candles because of fire hazards, quiet hours after 10 on weeknights, guests sign in at the front desk. But then Madison said something that made my stomach drop. She pointed to these cameras in the hallway and said, "We have security cameras on every floor for your safety. They're monitored 24/7 by campus security, and there's even cameras inside the common kitchens and study lounges to make sure students are following regulations." Sophie nodded along like this was completely normal. But I'd worked in IT security for 15 years, and something about that setup felt wrong. I raised my hand and asked Madison who exactly had access to those camera feeds. She smiled and said, "Campus security, resident assistants, and facilities management all have viewing access to ensure student safety and building maintenance. That's 3 separate departments with unrestricted access to watch college students in their living spaces." I asked if students were notified when they were being watched. Madison laughed and said the cameras are always recording, so there's no need for notifications. It's just part of dorm life now. The other parents on the tour didn't seem bothered at all. One mom even said it made her feel better knowing her son would be monitored, but I couldn't shake this feeling. After the tour ended, I pulled Sophie aside in the parking lot. I asked her if she understood what constant surveillance actually meant. She rolled her eyes and said, "Dad, it's for safety. Everyone has cameras now." I explained that cameras in hallways are one thing, but cameras in kitchens and lounges where students hang out, study, eat meals, have private conversations, that's different. That's watching their daily lives. Sophie insisted I was being paranoid and overprotective, but I told her I wanted to check something first before she signed her housing contract. That night, I called the university's IT department pretending to be a concerned parent with technical questions. I asked about their camera storage policies, who could access footage, and how long recordings were kept. The guy on the phone said footage was stored for 90 days and could be accessed by anyone with administrative credentials in those 3 departments. That's potentially dozens of people. He also mentioned that resident assistants, who are just students themselves, get full access to camera feeds in their assigned buildings. So basically, a 20-year-old RA could watch recordings of other students whenever they wanted. I dug deeper, found some Reddit threads from Riverside students complaining about cameras. One girl said her RA confronted her about a private conversation she'd had with her roommate in the kitchen, stuff they'd only discussed when they thought they were alone. Another student mentioned his RA made a comment about what time he came back to the dorm every night, information she could only know from watching the cameras. This wasn't about safety anymore. This was surveillance culture disguised as protection. I showed Sophie everything I'd found. At first she was defensive, saying I was trying to ruin her college choice, but then I asked her a simple question. Would you be okay with someone watching you eat breakfast? Watching you study in your pajamas? Watching you cry after a bad day when you think you're alone in the common room? She went quiet. The next day we called Riverside's housing office together. I asked them directly about their surveillance policies and what privacy protection students had. The woman on the phone got defensive immediately, said the cameras were clearly outlined in the housing agreement, and if we had concerns, maybe Riverside wasn't the right fit for Sophie. That response told me everything. Sophie ended up choosing her second choice school instead. They had cameras only in building entrances and stairwells, not in living spaces. She's a freshman there now and absolutely loves it. Last month, a news article came out about Riverside University. Turns out a former RA had been saving camera footage of female students and sharing it in private group chats. The university knew about complaints for months but didn't investigate until a student's parent threatened legal action. Sophie called me after reading that article. She didn't say much, just thanks Dad. I didn't need her to say anything else.